Hello, 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 and welcome to the Manifest on Purpose Mindset Show, conversation number 76. Today is going to be a very special conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about numbers. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing this with your friends and family. And thank you for subscribing here and on the website at manifestonpurpose.net. The God in me loves the God in you. Now, we're having a very special guest today. I want you to help me welcome back our guest, world-renowned astro-numerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. Welcome back, Lloyd. How are you?
I am fine, Kimberly. Thank you for having me back, too. This is a real treat for me.
The first time was so good, I had to have you back. But there may be some people that are hearing your voice for the first time. Can you let them know who you are and what your specialty is?
Well, my name is Lloyd Strayhorn. I am an astro-numerologist. Now, for those, the words may sound familiar, but what I've done and popularized is merging or known to merge both astrology and numerology together. 90% of the people, Kimberly, knows their zodiac sign, but they don't know that they have a number too. This is why all Leos aren't the same, all Virgos aren't the same, all Capricorns or whatever signs we pick, because the date of birth, as they call it, modifies or gives a further definition. So you can have a Leo born on a 4, and then you can have another Leo born on a 9. They're both Leos, but when you look at their birthdays, it modifies what makes you who you are and them who they are. So that's one of the things that I enjoyed when I got into that, because being into astrology first, I would say, well, your sign shouldn't go with that sign. But when I got into the number aspect of it, I found out that's why there are exceptions to the rules. Give you a perfect example. You have Angela Bassett, a Leo, married to Courtney Vance, all right? She is a Leo, and he is a Pisces. Now, people may say, so what? Well, she is ruled by the element of fire, and he's ruled by the element of water. Well, we know that anytime you're fighting fire, the element that you get is water. And so I would have said, man, y'all shouldn't be together at all, although they've been together about 20, 30 years. But, they look at each other and say, yeah, right. However, when you go specifically as to her birthday, she's born August the 16th. 1 plus 6 is 7. And he's born March the 12th. 1 plus 2 is 3. Well, 7 is a water number and 3 is a fire number. So it's like they kind of cross each other. So she is a fire sign with a water number. He's a water sign with a fire number. And so this helps me understand so much when I combine both these sciences. One often asks the question of the chicken and the egg, which came first. Numerology came first because anybody who's gotten their chart done, astrologically speaking, knows they must submit certain numerical information. The month you're born, which is a number, the day you're born, which is definitely a number, the year you're born, which is a number, the time you're born, which is a number, and then most importantly for the astrologer, the location, because the longitude and the latitude, so 1 o'clock here in New York is just 9 o'clock there in California. So it's a time frame. So therefore, if I go to China, that's 12 hours ahead. If I go to Hawaii, which I've been, that's 6 hours behind. So these time zones, and this is why the astrologer would prefer to know, where were you born? So you were born on this month, this day, this year, but where? Were you born on the West Coast, the East Coast? Were you born in Asia? Were you born in Europe? I mean, so once you understand that, the complexity, so what used to drive me crazy is a person don't know their time. That's why I put more emphasis on the numerology side. I would do a chart. The person says I'm born at 7 o'clock at night. I do the chart, Kimberly. Then I go to them and they says, guess what? I'm born at 7 in the morning. Well, man, that changed the whole flavor. I might as well tear the chart up right in front of them and say, because the planets rotate every some minutes, some hours, but they rotate. So they never stay the same. So up until the 22nd, just a couple of days ago, we were in the Leo season. Now here it is on the 24th. We're in the Virgo season. So this is what makes a difference. And I remember I had a client one time, she says, I dated a Scorpio and I'll never, ever, ever date a Scorpio again. Well, that person may have been that particular number, but other Scorpios have their own numbers. So this is why all Scorpios aren't the same. All Leos aren't the same. All Cancers aren't pushovers. It really helps you understand what it is. And then the most important thing is the personal year cycle that I want to kind of feature on today's show, because we all go through cycles. So yes, it may be Virgo season, but a person may say, numerically speaking, what is my season? So let's say you had a birthday recently, and what you do for anybody is you take the month, the day, and the year you were born. That's to get the destiny. But to find out your personal cycle for this year, 2022, you take the month, the day, and the year you want to know about. So a person will say to me, well, all right, Lloyd, well, what will be my personal year in the year of 2025? Well, I can tell them that at that time, they will be in a so-and-so personal year, because it doesn't change. So when I took August the 22nd and added it to the year of 2022, those three components of the month, the day you're born, plus the year I want to know about adds up to a 9. So 9 is the number of finality. In numerology, the numbers only go from 1 to 9. And that's what got me hooked into this in the first place. It says, man, the numbers go from 1 to 9. That's simple. I got 10 fingers, actually four fingers and 2 thumbs. But the point is I had 10. I can do this. And not understanding that the cycles, everything is cyclical. So a person says, well, after 9, that says, well, what about 10? Well, 1 plus 0 is back to 1. What about 11? 1 plus 1 is back to 2. So the numbers only go, numerically speaking, in numerology from 1 to 9. So you are at the end of a 9-year journey. You are at the end of one cycle that started 9 years ago. Okay, that would have been back in, shall we say, if it's 2022, that would have been about 2012. Excuse me. That'd have been about 2012 into 2013. But 9 means this. Each number represents something symbolic. So we don't leave people out. Once I explain yours, I'm going to take everybody else's. What is my personal year that's seen from my best-selling book, Numbers in You. You, therefore, happen to be at a 9 personal year. And what that means is that this is the year for closures. That's normally what a 9 represents, that things come to an end, things come to a head, where you wake up one morning, you say, you know what, I don't need this, I need that. And you might be looking at somebody straddling the fence in your life saying, you know what, I don't need you either. And so that's the one thing it's most known for. I like the 9 because it's also the cycle of manifestation. Let's say you're at a job and you've been daydreaming for the longest about doing this and daydreaming about doing that. Well, this is the year when those manifestations or dreams are likely to come true. That is one of the phraseologies. 9 represents the cycles of dreams come true. 9 also denotes trips, long distance trips. If you don't travel afar, somebody from a distance come to you. 9, the cycles also indicate the type of zodiac signs that will be drawn to the person or help them over some point during this year. So since you're in a 9 personal year, what it means is those under the sign of Aries, those under the sign of Scorpio, those under the sign of Leo, which means you'll be helping yourself, thank you. These 3 signs in particular will play some part or aspect in your affairs, good, bad, or indifferent. It also means numerically anybody born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month all possess the number 9 in their names. For example, Lloyd adds up to a 9 under the Chaldean system. Paul adds up to a 9. Ralph adds up to a 9. Amar adds up to a 9. Rasan adds up to a 9. And so it goes. Bill, in fact, also adds up to a 9. So if you know any of these names, they will probably be of help to you too in some way. So 9 also, I tell, since 9 is ruled by the element of fire, therefore they need to be careful because one of the health numbers are the 4, the 6, and the 9. But 9 rules more accidents and injuries and nicks and cuts and burns and bruises and breaks and fender benders. So contracting illnesses will not be a concern in the 9 cycle. And see, I'm not just talking about you. Anybody who's listening might say, oh, I'm in the 9 too. Well, it simply means that they, of all people, need to stay away from people that want to argue, they want to fuss, they want to fight, they want to fume, they want to bring about some drama. And even though you know you can kick their butt physically, mentally, spiritually, say, you know what? You better be glad I know what cycle I'm in because you would get it, okay? Now, when I say accidents, let's say a woman's in the kitchen and she's dicing something, fruits or a piece of meat or something or vegetables. And if she's not careful, she might nick herself. Or the same thing with ironing. She's not paying attention. She's kind of in a rush and, kind of burn herself, things like that. I also tell people when they're in the 9 cycle year not to become too attached or too friendly with alcohol because 9 rules alcohol. So sometimes people born under the signs of Scorpio, Leo, well, it's actually Scorpio and Aries primarily that will tend to have to be warned about not taking alcohol to excess. So I just tell anybody in the 9 cycle year to avoid accidents, avoid arguments. Let's say you're across the street and a car overturns and everybody's running over there to see what's happening. I tell you to take out your camera, take pictures. You can always enlarge it later. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do. So, and 9 in a cycle means this is your year to be inspirational, motivational, bring out the best in other people. So, in a 9 cycle, this is one has a sense of being in charge of their destiny, their own affairs, being the masters of their ship, the captain of their fate. So it all depends because the numbers not only tell you the conditions, but the mindset that you're in, the people that you're likely to be attracted to, and health tendencies that may affect you. So if you get injured or nicks or cuts or burns or bruises or breaks or falls out of a tree or falling off a bike, that would be about right. Not that any of this has to happen to you, but it simply means that according to the cycles that you're in, that these are the things that could take place, possibly. So, so we're now in, this is the 8th month. It's crazy how the years have gone by so fast, but it has. So I will start with a 1. If a person's done their month and date of birth and they added it to the present year of 2022, and it's a 1 personal year for them, that means where you are in a cycle of endings, they're in a cycle of new beginnings. So since you're in a 9 personal year, that means for 2023, you're going to be in a 1 personal year, Kimberly Williams, okay? So when a person's in a 1 personal year, it means that's when they want to do something new with their lives. They want to make a difference in their lives. They want to get away from the doldrums. And that's the whole purpose of a 9 cycle, to get rid of things and bring closure and put things behind them. Because the theory is when you're starting a brand new 9-year cycle, what you don't want to do is bring old baggage into the brand new cycle. Okay. So that's how it works. A lot of people don't know that the cycle actually begins around late September, October. Now, when I mean that, let's say I'm taking you out to a movie and we're going to see Denzel Washington. I always say that with the women because all the women like Denzel. Oh, Denzel. But anyway, the point is, before we see the main movie, we see what are called the trailers. That is, we'll say, nah, that might look interesting. No, we don't want to come and see that. But the point is you get a snapshot. So I always refer to October, late September, October as the preview month, that if you're paying attention, it gives you a sense. Now, women can sense it better. Women in their intuition, they can feel that, yeah, this is going to be a great year coming up for me. I don't know about this year, but women seem to intuit about how the year is likely to go. And so all I'm saying to people, if you pay attention to how the fall of any year starts, it kind of gives you a preview of what is to expect. And the reason, and the sample I give is like, when we're young, there's parts where we all stayed up all night long, okay? Where we stayed up and then we gradually saw the rising of the sun. Well, that's what happens in a year. So where a day is 24 hours, a year is 365 days. So what happens is you start feeling the rays of the year in September, October of every year. And then by the time we come to January the 1st, that year is in what is called full effect. That year is what is called reach high noon, if that makes sense. So a person in a one personal year means now they make a fresh start. It's like you got a blackboard and you cleaned it and you've erased it. Now you can draw on this board whatever you want to. Well, that's what that year is about. I tell people when they're in a one cycle year, this is the time when they have to be selfish. It's not about what the kids want. It's not about what the mates want. It's not about what your family, cousins, relatives want. It's what you want for you. So people are going to say, Kimberly, you're real selfish, girl. But your three best friends are me, myself, and I. In other words, the point is, what am I getting out of this? They'll tell you on an airplane, if there's a change in the cabin pressure and the mask drop down, even though you got an infant in your arm, the natural instinct is to put that mask on the baby first. They tell you the rule is to put that mask on who first? You. Then you can put it on the baby or the relative or someone else. So that's what that's about. That's the year that you're heading into. This is the year where you step out on faith. This is the year where you start a new path for yourself. This is a year where you become more innovative, more proactive in getting something new off the ground. This is when people begin to set the stage of what they want for the next 9 years. So let's say you got a person, they call you every day. They want to talk to you hours on end. And what I'm saying, so if when you're in a one personal year, you try to make sure that you don't entertain that person that much, not unless you want them to call you all the time, talk long time for the next 9-year cycle. Because don't forget, whatever you start in a one cycle year will last for the next 9 years. They may say you're selfish, but in the following year, you'll say, listen, I got you, I will, now I can be sharing, but right now it's about you steering where you wish to go. The people who are likely to assist you in some way in a one personal year will be those under the sign of Leo. So you'll be helping yourself again. Those under the sign of Aquarius, which happens to be me by chance. Those under the sign of Aries. So those are likely to be the three signs beginning in the fall that are likely to play a significant part in your affairs one way or the other. And it means just being proactive, act with courage, act with confidence, know what you want. And this is when people get raises, get promotions, or they start their own businesses, or they become managers or supervisors, reaching some executive position, but they seek something new. Now, let me know if you know how we New Yorkers are. We can run our mouths. So if you need a question and just say, pause, brother. I got you. I'll listen.
I'm enjoying it, but I did observe that it kind of sounds like New Year's, the 1 year. It kind of sounds like New Year's.
It is a new year. It is a start to a brand new 9 cycle year. So you come to a year without any baggage from the past 9 years. That's why this year is about letting things go. Things that are toxic, people, individuals, habits, ways of thinking. This is the year to bring closure. That's one part of the cycle that you're in. It's also a year where you manifest some of the things you've been wanting to do for the longest. Things that you put on the back burner should now be put front and center to try to manifest some of those things you wanted to do. It also indicates travel great distances here to California, here to Asia, Africa, Europe, some long distance place. And it also indicates if you don't go, then people from long distances will come and visit. Somebody from California, somebody from England or Europe or Caribbean or South America, but They represent long distance relationships, but it's also a year that deals with impulsiveness. And so therefore they need to be patient. They need to take their time. And of all the things, they need to avoid all arguments and confrontations at all costs. So now starting the one cycle year is totally different. It's me, myself, and I. What's in it for Kimberly? What am I getting out of this, Kimberly? You know what I'm saying? And you can have the heart of gold and give the shirt off your back. But when you're in the one cycle year, it's suggested that you begin to set the stage for what you want for the next 9-year cycle. Okay. So let's say a person's in a two personal year when they add their month and day to the year 2022. Well, 2 is about companionship, where 1 is about individuality. What's in it for me? What am I getting out of this? Focusing on their own needs first and foremost, because you can't take care of nobody unless you take care of yourself. Okay. But in a 2 cycle year, it's about forming bonds, forming companionship, forming alliances, forming groups, things, especially with members of the opposite sex. It also means that a person take their time and be patient. 2 is a transitory cycle. I call it the iffy cycle, where things are up in the air. It's not, you know how women would like some degree of certainty, knowing it is what it is. Well, with a 2, it don't kind of work like that. It's just like, things is kind of up in the air and it's a little uncertainty, but it's in 3 areas, normally with relationships. It could be from a close personal relationship like mates. Normally it represents between families, you know, the brother haven't talking to the father in months, and now because 2 is a negotiator. Well, you know, Kimberly, you know, I ain't talked to dad and he's pissed at me and so and so. So you are the peacemaker. That's what a 2 is about. They like to bring peace, harmony in their lives and stuff like that. They like to take their time. But it also means not only between relationships, but changes in the home, maybe feng shuiing the place. So this same time next year, in your case, you might be thinking about, okay, I need to rearrange my room. I need to rearrange the apartment or the place where I live, things of that nature. And also changes at the job, a workstation. You get a new supervisor, a new work location, or things of that nature. But it's a degree that people, you know, women like to have security and certainty. Well, in a 2 cycle, it means you got to be fluid. You got to be flexible. And it makes sense because it's water, and water is fluid. This is why Bruce Lee, the famous martial artist / actor, says, because his degree was in philosophy, believe it or not. And he says water is fluid. If you pour it in a cup, it will take the shape of a cup. If you pour it in a teapot, it will take the shape of a teapot. So the nature of a 2 cycle is to take your time. I call it the Delilah cycle. It's like when my daughters want something, they're so nice to me. Daddy, you know what I'm saying? They like become irresistible. So let's say you got a person, especially a woman who's been very hard-nosed. They've been very assertive or very aggressive, but they're in a 2 cycle year. Well, the rule, you can catch more bees with honey, definitely applies. So when I call it the Delilah cycle, so in the Bible, when the Pope was going after Samson to defeat him, and he defeated the army coming after him, what did he do? He sent little old Delilah in there. She ain't have no weapons. She was looking good. She was smelling good. And the rest is biblical history. So what I'm saying is, so let's say you've always been on the job with people being very assertive, very no nonsense. And, you know, they're afraid to kind of talk to you. But in that 2 cycle, you say, sure, I'm receptive. Not that you're going to change your mind, but the approach is different. So when a nation fights a war, they might use airplane to attack by air and drop bombs. They may go ships to go underneath the water to sneak on land. They may have the army. So there are different techniques, and the technique in a 2 cycle year is to be sweet, receptive, and non-resistance. And you'll find that you'll get what you want. They'll say, she is so nice. You know, when you're nice, people get what they want. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. They will find that cancers will help them. Okay. And people born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or the 29th of the month. So 2 rules the sign of Cancer, and then it rules anybody born on the 2nd, the 11th, 1 plus 1 is 2, the 20th, 2 plus 0 is 2, or the 29th, because 2 plus 9 is 11, and 1 plus 1 equals 2. Now, let's say you got a person in a 3 personal year. Well, 3 is a cycle of abundance. I'll explain it this way. In a 1 cycle year, you plant the seeds of what you want. In a 2 cycle year, that's when you planted the seed, you cover it up with soil, and you water it, and now you got to wait. I remember when I was a kid, and I went to the South to visit my grandmother, and we planted something with my New York City self. I'm sitting there looking at it like it's going to say, "Bah," okay? Not knowing that it is a process. Well, in a 2 cycle, that's the germination cycle, but in a 3 process, that's when you begin to see the fruits of your labor. That's when you begin to see things come above the surface. That's why it's called the good luck cycle, the cycle of lady luck, the cycle of expansion, the things where things begin to open up for you. This is a cycle of self-improvement. This is the cycle where you start getting your networking, making all the right connections. This is the cycle where you begin to grow and expand and reach higher levels of consciousness and awareness. This is the cycle where you begin to push your ambition, and I tell persons in a 3 cycle or have a 3 influencer in their chart, the worst thing to do is tell you can't do it. So let's say when you're going in a 3-person year and I says, "Oh, Kimberly, you'll never make it." Man, unbeknownst to me, all I did was set the fire of success under you. That's all I've done, because that makes a person more determined to do things. It also indicates that not only that, but in a 3 cycle, it means it has dominion over children, babies, pets, or animals in general. It denotes also, it deals with legal or semi-legal matters. So let's say you had a legal or semi-legal matter pending. Well, when you reach that 3-year, more than likely, it will go in your favor. However, if you're living on the negative side of the 3, you got to avoid getting caught up in scandals, because 3 represents your name and your reputation. So, there'll be times if you don't have much, the one thing you need to have, like my dad told me, he says, well, you may not have money, but if you got a good name, that'll help you. And there have been times when I didn't have much, but my name was like golden. Oh, Lloyd or Mr. Strayhorn, he's good for it. You see, so that's the kind of cycle that the number 3 is in. 3 is also a flirtatious cycle too, where they do a lot of flirting going on. Sometimes they'll have long distance relationships, or the person there is in one city, they're in another city, they're in this state, they're in that state, things like that. But 3 is a fun cycle. It's one of the cycles where you begin to breathe and things of that nature. Pisces and Sagittarius will be of influence, and those that are born on the 3rd, the 12th, because 1 plus 2 is 3, the 21st, 2 plus 1 is 3, or the 30th of any month. Then you got a person who's in a 4 cycle year. So if they add the month and day they're born to this year, and that number factors out to a 4. Now, this is a cycle that people don't like too much, Kimberly, because 4, the symbol of a 4 is a box. Therefore, symbolically, the person feels boxed in financially, mentally, emotionally, economically, restricted. In other words, 4 is a cycle of waste not, want not, lend not, borrow not. It's about being efficient. It's the number of efficiency. You work with what you got. Okay. In the South, they used to say, the elders used to say, don't let your eyes be bigger than your stomach when you grab putting the stuff on the plate. Okay. Little things like that. So what it means is just being economical, being structured, being frugal, having a sense of order in your life. When you're in a 4 cycle, I always suggest this is when you pay yourself first. You get a little extra money, take some out and put it in your piggy bank. I remember I told one of my clients years ago, and she was at the beginning of the year, and she reminded me by the end of the year, she had literally put aside enough money to go on a cruise somewhere. You see what I'm saying? You would be surprised, these little nickels and dimes we spend that don't seem like no consequences, if you were to add it all up, would be like, wow, I'm spending that much money on something? Yes, you are. So I remember one time I was in Texas and I was doing on a radio show, and the guy says, well, when is my ship coming in? And see, sometimes you catch me on a bad day, but it wasn't a bad day. But I says, did you send the ship out there? You see, so that's how a 4 is. You can't want something and you don't make an effort. So for those that this newer generation has got this entitlement, they're going to have a problem in the 4th cycle year. It don't work like that. You put in the work and you reap what you sow. So nothing in is nothing out. That's the human math. Nothing from nothing equals nothing, period. Okay. So I like the 4 because yes, you may have to put your shoulders to the wheel. Yes, you may have to work up a sweat, but it's what you put in is exactly what you get back in equal measure. So you can't be saying, well, I want this, and you ain't making no effort to do squat. It's not going to work. The signs that will be helpful to the person in the 4th cycle year will be under the sign of Aquarius, in a minor way Leo, and Gemini, or they will be born on the 4th, the 13th, 1 plus 3 is 4, the 22nd or the 31st of any month, because 3 plus 1 is 4. Then you have a person that's at the midway point, which is a 5 cycle year. That's why they call the 5 the pivotal cycle, the turning point cycle, because it's the bridge between year number 1 and year number 9. It's dead center. Smack it. It's like they'll give you an example. The work week is from Monday to Friday. Well, Wednesday is always called what? Hump day. It's in the middle. Okay. Well, 5 is hump year. So you're in the middle. And so what it is, it means this is when you're at a fork in the road. This is when you're at a turning point. This is when you got to make a decision. Which way should you go? The example I give is like you're driving down the highway, you exit off, and then when you come to the stop sign or the traffic light, you got signs pointing in all kinds of directions. And so at that juncture, you got to make a point of decision. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Should I keep going forward? Should I back up and go down the next exit and get off? But it represents a turning point for the better. Some persons may want a turning point for the better in their health, some in relationships, some in finance. Everybody got their own preferences of what they want for the better in that 5 cycle year. 5 is also the cycle of opportunities. 5 is also the cycle of self-promotion. So if you got anything that you need to get before the public, whether you're using media sites, LinkedIn, Facebook, whether you're taking out or getting on a radio show to promote what you're doing, or developing a podcast, that represents things, because 5 represents business, science, commerce, communications, import, export, the stock exchange, the literary field, the travel industry. So you have many, many options in a 5. And the thing a 5 wants in a 5 cycle year is their freedom. After being restricted in a 4 cycle year, now they're breaking free and they want to travel. 5 is ruled by air. Well, air is everywhere. Air just isn't restricted within my computer or within your space. Everywhere we go and travel, there is air. So this is what is happening. 5, I tell people, if you're dealing with a person in a 5 cycle, the key to holding on to them is to let them go. It may sound counterintuitive, but a person in a 5 cycle year, when they finally settle down with somebody, more than likely they'll settle down with the person who gave them the most breathing room. Now, here's what might be cute. You're in a 5 person year, right? And we're dating. And we get up and I say, girl, where you going? You say, oh, ain't that nice? Lloyd want to know what I'm doing. So and so, he really cares. But if I did that every morning, week in, week out, month in, week out, in a 5 cycle year, it's like straight. I already told you, but when I get up in the morning, I leave at 8:15 because I got to be to work at 9. Okay. And then I go to lunch and come back. Anytime a 5 got to do that in a 5 cycle year, that other person's in trouble. Okay. So you let them breathe. Okay. Dorothy Dandridge, when I forgot this play, this movie she was in with Harry Belafonte, and she had her eye on Harry Belafonte, and the guy, one of the soldiers, wanted to stop her. She says, no, I go where the wind is blowing. See, so yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I got my eye over there. That's a 5 energy. So 5s love their freedom. 5s love variety. 5 love flexibility. And that's what happens after coming out of a 4 or restrictive or confined cycle year. That now you want to explore all your options. You want to have variety. You want to travel. You want movement. You want freedom. And I tell a person who's a number 5, the worst thing to do is punish a 5-person at a job by putting them in a cubicle with no windows, no nothing. They go crazy. You know what I'm saying? No, you can't turn on the radio. No, you can't do nothing. You got to stay there all day. That would drive a 5-person nut because they need some space. They need the feeling of breathing. Geminis will help them. Virgos will help them. In a minor way, Aquarians will help them, or anybody born on the 5th, the 14th, because 1 + 4 is 5, or the 23rd of any month. All right, now, 6. When you're in a 6th personal year, this is the cycle that deals with the planet Venus. 6 is a cycle that represents, normally when a woman is about to go into a 6th cycle year, somewhere around about October, that's when they want to change their hair. Okay, so for example, you have been in a 9 personal month for this year of 2022. More than likely, you may have changed your hair back around late May, June, where you say, okay, Lloyd, I think I want to do a little something with my hair. Lengthen it, shorten it, restyle it, whatever the case is. So I don't know what your hair looked like around about March, April, or May, but I would say by late May, June, you may have had a sense of wanting to do something different with it. Okay, restyle it or whatever. Well, that's what happens when a woman enters a 6th personal year. They want to go for a complete makeover because 6 is about beauty, edification, home, family. I call 6 the romance and finance number. And the way I explain it to women, there are 3 doors you're knocking at. Door number 1, if you don't have anybody, more than likely before the year of the 6th personal year is over, you're likely to meet somebody. Door number 2, if you're halfway in a relationship with somebody and it spills into a 6th personal year, more than likely from the conversations of that person, their speech might sound like, I think we need to date exclusively. I think maybe we need to live together. But it takes on a tone that, oh, he's ready to take this relationship to the next level. Or door number 3, if you've been in a relationship and somebody been working your nerves and plucking your nerves, I would say by the summer, it's going to go south. So I say that because a woman knows exactly what door she's about to enter into when she's entering a 6th personal year. Well, I don't have nobody, so good, I'll meet somebody. Well, I'm with somebody and I'm going to see how it goes. But if I'm with somebody and they've been working your nerves, I can almost tell you how that's going to go before the summer gets here. Where, and 6 is a cycle that deals with home and family, education. So it's romance, love, marriage, separation, divorce, births, pregnancies, moving in a home, moving out of a home. So I like to tell a woman when she's in a 6th cycle year that you're in your pregnancy cycle. So like guys don't know how to spell the word commitment. Women don't seem to know how to spell the word pregnancy. But what it means is this. The pregnancy numbers speak in symbolic terms. So when you go to a doctor and they look at that blood pressure number symbolically, that tells them you're good, you're not so good, or you're in the danger zone. And therefore you need to either change your diet, take medication. So the numbers speak to them in ways that warn you. So that's the same with numbers. So when I say a pregnancy cycle, you don't have to be pregnant. Your brother, your sister, a relative, a girlfriend, a niece. Girl, you're going to be a godmother. Okay, what I'm saying? Girl, you're going to be an auntie. You know what I'm saying? Or you give a symbolic birth to an enterprise, a business, an endeavor. You see what I'm saying? So I like to tease women in that way when I say in a pregnancy cycle. And you should see the expression. And whenever I say that, that's like, huh? So I know that this month of August, you are in a pregnancy cycle because 9 plus the 8th calendar month of August add the 17, and 1 + 7 is 8. So it doesn't mean that you have to be biologically pregnant, but you give a thought to an idea, a thought to a concept, or that somebody you know is pregnant, or somebody you know is about to get married, or separated, or divorced. Because 8 represents love, marriage, separation, divorce, moving into a home, moving out of a home. This is why I never get bored getting in people's business. This is fantastic. I'm telling you, I got issues. So I'm not the one to talk to. If you don't want nobody getting your business, don't come talk to me. So because I try to help a person understand what cycles they go through. This is a cycle when you're in an 8, where you do a lot of growing up. you come of age. Yes, you know you're grown, but you become more philosophically mature. You begin to see where you fit at on, well, that's in the 8th cycle, but I need to deal with a 6 first. So 6 does rule, 6 and 8s and 6s are similar, but where 6 rules romance and finance, 8 rules finance and romance. So I got a little ahead of myself, but 6 does rule love, marriage, separation, divorce, moving into a home, moving out of a home. That is the purpose of a 6. 6 is about beautification. 6 is go back to school. They take a course online, and they go to a seminar or workshop or retreat. The mate may say, well, honey, didn't you just finish taking an online course? You say, yeah, but they got the CPR test course, and I might need to save you one day when you pass out on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Use some emergency procedures. 6 is, this is when people get into health regimens. They go back to a gym. They get involved in some weight loss or exercise program. In a 6 cycle year, the person is likely to help you will be under the sign of Libra or Taurus, or born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of any month. 7 personal year. 7 is somewhat like a 4, where 4s are normally under restrictions. 7 stays under the radar. People have challenges in a 4 cycle year because you got to work and be frugal and structured and organized. 7, because it is more of a cycle where you got to go within. It's not a cycle that rules with the normal things of jobs or careers or making resources or money or relationships, good, bad, or another. It makes you stop, look, and listen and ask, why am I doing the things I'm doing? 7 is God's number. This is when people go back to church. They get readings, they go to psychic fairs, but they're looking for things that go beyond the normal 5 senses. Okay? This is when they have the strange dreams. This is a cycle where secrets are revealed, things that come about. I knew there was something up with Aunt Susie, okay? And that's what they meant when they were talking about these. So 7s happen to bring things to the surface. 7 makes you go within. It makes you, again, be reflective, and it makes you question. It makes you go down the rabbit hole. So if you're in a 7 cycle and I says, Kimberly, I'm in love with you. Now to other women, it may sound good, but in a 7 cycle, okay, Lloyd, why are you loving me today? Because I hit that lottery last week, because I got that brand new car. You're going to get to the reason why you think I'm loving you, not just saying it. That is the nature of it. If a person's in a 7 cycle, you can't talk that talk because they're going to go make you go down the rabbit hole as to why you say or why you do the things you do. And the thing they begin is to begin to examine themselves. So let's say you're in a person's in a situation with their mate and in a 7 personal year, and that person is up, the woman is up, where the mate is sleeping in bed like a teddy bear. She'll look and say, why am I dealing with you? Now, she ain't going to wake him up to discuss it. Her whole thing is, and this includes anybody that's close in their space, because 7 is a cycle of self-examination and examination of anyone, their job, their co-workers, their neighbors, their family members, their brothers, their sisters, their children, their loved one. Why are you in my space? This is why they want to go somewhere where there's the sand, the sea, and the sun. This is why they don't want to be bothered with the noise, the drama, the confusion. They just want to be left alone to figure out what they're doing for themselves. So if you seem to be standoffish or snooty or stuck up, that would be about right, but that's misinterpreting, because 7s like to be discreet. They like to be discriminating. But if they're in a specialized field, nobody learns their craft better than when they're in a 7 cycle year. So the rule is don't chase after what you want. The rule is think about what you want. That's how you get what you want in the material and emotional world. So for example, if a person's walking around in a 7 personal year saying, man, I don't have no money. I don't have no money. Well, the source will make sure they don't have the money, because that's the way they're thinking. So when they're going out of their house and they should go left toward their money, they go out of their house and go right away from their money. So what happens is, I tell people, because we are in a society or in a world where it's either very material, monies, jobs, careers, or emotional relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever the case is, don't chase after what you want. You magnetize what you want. What I'm saying, and the illustration I give is when people have these vision boards. They cut out a yacht. Okay, they paste it on the board. They cut out dollar bills. They paste it on the board. They cut out wedding rings. They paste it on the boards. Well, instead of pasting it on the board, you paste it on the mental screen of your mind. And then, as the elders used to say, then you let go and let God, because 7 is a magnetic number. Okay, so whatever you're thinking, that's what you will attract. So if you think poor and think poverty, that's exactly what you will have this year. But if you think abundance and prosperity and relationships and good luck, you let go and let God. All you got to do is see it in your mind. It's simple. It's going to be years to figure this out, you know. Okay. And seven cycle, they have the strangest of dreams. So 7s will attract those under the signs of Pisces and Cancer, or people born on the 7th, the 16th, or the 25th of any month. But the rule is in a 7, wherever you want, don't chase after it. You just think about it. You know how when you're on a job and you bored to death and you dream about being on vacation, everywhere but being right there. Well, that's a 7. Think of a 7 cycle like that. But then hold on to that image a couple of moments in the morning and in the evening, and then just go throughout your day. Don't say, well, I'm thinking about, I need a new job, but you know, God, I need it by Saturday, by 2:00. God don't work like that. You can't do it like that. The man is busy because everybody's pulling on him, okay? So what you got to do is you put it out there and you let God bring it to you at his own accord. It may take a little bit. It may take a month. It may take a week. It may take months. Who knows? But the point is, as long as you put it out there and let God do what he does best, which is bring it to you. So that's it. So again, if you got a poverty mindset, walking around all this year in a 7 cycle, I don't have no money, it will become what is called a self-fulfilled prophecy. Okay? So it's very careful when you're in a 7 personal year, how you're thinking, because that's what you will attract. So think abundance, think happiness, think prosperity, think relationships, think, you know what I'm saying? And then you just see it in your mind and then let it go. And God will do the rest. That's the secret. Now, when you're in an 8 cycle year, where 8 rules romance and finance, 8 rules, where 6 rules romance and finance, 8 rules finance first, then romance. So women will say there's no romance without finance. At least you say that a lot in New York. I guess they say it everywhere. Who knows? Anyway, the point is, yes, romance, but in an 8 cycle, it's more about the material things in life. A job, a move, doing things big, starting your own business, stepping out on faith, you know, in that sense, beginning to do things on a grand scale. This is when people start their own businesses. They gain positions of authorities, supervisors, managers, become entrepreneurs. This is also a real estate cycle. It's very similar to a 6, because like the 6, the 8 also rules love, marriage, separation, divorce, births, pregnancies. Okay. Moving into a home, moving out of a home, except the 8 is more on the material side. The emphasis is more on the material side of that equation, where in a 6 cycle is more on the emotional side of that equation first. It's just where the emphasis is put. So in an 8, you do a lot of growing up. You come of age. 8 also brings people from your past. That's the cycle that reconnects you from people that you haven't seen, which is may of what you went through last year in the year of 2021 when you were in an 8 personal year. How so? Family reunions, college, high school reunions, weddings, christenings, baby showers, funerals. I ain't talking about the internet. See, people think, oh, it's the internet that's going to bring everybody together. No, I'm talking about traditionally in our communities, it's a wedding that will bring people back we ain't seen in a minute. Definitely funerals will bring a whole lot of people back that we haven't seen in some time. Our christenings or baby showers or reunions of some kind, especially during the summer. So that's the kind of cycle it brings back. But it is also a property cycle. It's a cycle that deals with documents, doing wills, reviewing wills, creating wills, trust funds, things like that, getting insurance on yourself and the family. That's an 8. That's all that's on the material side. Then on the romantic side, it means either someone from your past, someone you just say like, girl, I ain't heard from them in a minute. How the hell they get my phone number? Okay. Well, I saw you on the internet and so and so and so and so and so and so. So they come in 3 ways. Either 1, they're from the past. or somebody a little older that they normally hadn't thought about or considered, or it'll be somebody that the third choice the women like the most in the 8th cycle year, where they meet somebody and that man's got the ways and means financially and materially to help them get to the next level. Almost all the women in the 8th cycle raise their hand for that choice. That one from the past that was back in the day, I don't know about that, you know? So I explain to women that's very important. Let's say it was somebody from your past. The question is to remember, how did it end? Did it end on a good note? Did it end on a sour note? Because sometimes, for example, women will tell me about a guy will come back. Well, I've changed. And they talk and they take them back into their life. And I ask the woman, I says, when you took him back, did he change? And they'll say no. They just said enough to get back in good graces. So what you do with a relationship in the past, you got to find out, did it end peacefully on a good note? Was the faith step in and you had to move in one direction, they had to move in another direction? Or was it a knockdown, drag out battle? And now all of a sudden they've grown up, they've come of age, they've come of senses. As soon as one trigger starts, they're back into traumatizing you and they'll forget. There was a client I had in Maryland. She was dating a guy for 6 months and he started blaming her for 5 years of his problems. How does that math work? See, this is what I'm trying to tell you. People are something else. The numbers are simple, but as King Simon says, the people are complicated. So this is what I'm saying, okay? So the people that are likely to help them in an 8 personal year will be under the sign of Capricorn, Aquarius, in a minor way Libra, or born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th of the month. And now I'm about to finish up a running my mouth of a 9 personal year. 9 is the cycle of finality. 9 is a cycle where everything you want comes to a head. It comes to a close. It comes to a completion. 9 is a cycle that says, okay, I need to put this aside once and for all. 9 is a cycle where you also fulfill some of your dreams that have been put on hold. 9 is a cycle that motivates people to do what they do. They bring out the best. So somebody will say, you know, Kimberly, after I talk to you, I feel so much better. And you be saying, but I ain't say nothing. You don't have to. Just that energy of the 9, because 9 is universal, global, international. And this is when you expand your horizon. So I tell a person, if they're in a 9 cycle year, open up a business that connects with everybody. True in business, you know, when advertising and marketing, they got their niche market. Well, when you're in a 9 cycle year, the whole world is your market. Everybody must eat. Everybody must clothe themselves from the elements. So if you think of that, almost always, whatever you develop, it will attract people from all denominations, all ethnicities, all genders. You know what I'm saying? And you be the best you can. It is a cycle where, again, you bring closure to anyone or anything that's not been in your best interest. Bad habits, bad ways you've been thinking, toxic people. That is the nature of a 9. But it really emphasizes the fulfillment of things you have been longing for the longest time. That you put things on hold. That, you know, he says, okay, I put all this aside. I sacrifice all of this, but now it's my turn to manifest my dreams. And again, it represents long distance trips. And you may not necessarily have to travel. Then all of a sudden you got a thing where you want to travel by way of books. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So it's all like symbolic. And the people that will help you will be Aries, Scorpio, Leo, so people born on the 9th, 18th, or 27th. And that is the essence. And they can always get it with my orange book behind me. It's over my left shoulder, which means it'll be over my right shoulder from your vantage point. Get that orange book. I wrote these books, but it will go into even more details because I talk about what the theme is, what the cycle of the year is, about the relationships, about the health. And I didn't even talk about the health. When a person's in the 1 cycle year, it deals with the eyes, the heart, the back. When they're in a 2 cycle year, it deals with the stomach. When I deal with a 3 cycle year, it deals with the emotions and the hip, the thigh, and the feet. When you're in a 4 cycle year, it deals with the psychological part of you, depression, things like that. When it's in a 5 cycle year, it deals with the hands, the arms, the shoulders, dizziness, vertigo. When it's in a 6 cycle year, it deals with the nose, the throat, the upper part of the lungs, the respiratory system, heart palpitations, irregular blood circulation. When it's in a 7 personal year, it deals with night sweats and worry and things like that. That goes this I should say it's imaginary. It's more makeup than what you're thinking. When they get past the point of word, they say it was no big deal. If it's in an 8 cycle year, it's in a cycle that deals with headaches, the knees, the teeth, the bones, and misdiagnosed by the medical profession. Then when it's in a 9 personal year, it means more through injuries and illnesses, nicks, cuts, burns, bruises, fender benders, arguments, confrontations, things like that. There is so much to this, Miss Williams. That's all I'm saying. So if I'm able to come back again, I'll take a picture, another angle of it, because there's so many angles of development, such as the best places to live, the best places to vacation. Why is it that one person can go to a place to vacation and it winds up being a complete disaster? Yet another person goes to that same location and they wish they would like to come back every vacation. So locations have energy. So just as you and I have energies from our birthday and our names, well, the names of nations have their own energies. The United States has its own energy by its name. The United States has its own energies by its birthday. So back in July, I did a 2-parter where the United States was a number 4. Okay, so 4 rules everything for the United States. They thought it with 13 stars, 13 stripes was the flag. They started with 13 colonies. 1 + 3 is 4. They started with 13 naval ships. Okay, they the president, the first president was born on the 22nd, George Washington. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Well, he was born in the 4th month on the 13th day. 1 + 3 is 4. The Declaration was signed at 1300 Locust Street in Philadelphia. There were 13 signers of the Declaration. Don't tread on me, 13 letters. The White House, 13 letters. E pluribus unum, 13 letters. And I ain't even talking about the dollar bill. But if you go to Washington, D.C. is broken into 4 quadrants: northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. It has 4 streets: syllable streets, alphabet streets, letter streets, and flower streets, I do believe. But in the letter streets, they don't have an X, a Y, or a Z. So 4 are missing. That means there are only 22 labeled streets by alphabets. And 2 + 2 is 4. The area code to Washington is 202. Am I correct? That's a 4. The zip code to Washington is 20002. That's a 4. I can't make this up. So the United States obviously believes in numerology.
I was going to ask, do you think they have a numerologist on staff?
No, but they had Benjamin Banneker, who was a believer associated with the Dogon people who understood the Sirius star. So when missionaries came through the Dogon people in Africa, how did they know this? So instead of giving those brothers credit for knowing about the density, the weight, the circumference of the Sirius star, and then the smaller star, more denser, the Sirius star B. And there's an excellent book called The Sirius Mystery. And they wanted to give credit to a missionary coming through, everybody but the brothers who knew how to do this. Do you know Benjamin Banneker developed the first working clock in America, developed the almanac? I mean, and he completed the whole layout of Washington, D.C. Lafayette, who was hired from France, was hired to lay out the pyramid. We got to talk about this another time. I ain't going to.
Yes, we did. Because I was researching that, and I did not hear about. Okay, yeah, we got to get.
You ain't going to hear about Benjamin Banneker. You're going to hear about Lafayette. But what happens is Lafayette raised the house. Raised means he destroyed the house. He tore the house down, but it was of a prominent politician, and they got rid of his butt. So then they brought Benjamin Banneker in, and he completed the process of the layout of Washington, D.C. You don't have to take my word for it. Do the research. Yeah, but he knew enough to know what he was doing, and he laid it out with precision. I mean, 4 is the birth of the United States, the 4th of July. The whole capital is predicated, or the District of Columbia is predicated on the divisions of 4. 4 divisions: northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. Am I right? They got 4 streets: letter streets, alphabet streets, single streets, or double syllable streets, but there are 4 streets. That's how That's why people who live there say, oh, I can find my way around DC, because it's laid out in a way, this pattern. But of the alphabet street, there's no X, no Y, there's no X, no X, Y, Z. There's four is X, Y, Z, W, X, W, X, Y, Z. Those are the streets that are missing. There are no W streets, no X streets, no Y streets, no Z streets. If you've ever gone through their streets. Well, 4 are missing. That means there's a total of 22 alphabet streets, which is 4. You see what I'm saying? So the division, the area code 202, 4. The zip code 20002, 4. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Don't look at me. But I documented all of this in my book, so people understand.
Can you tell us about your books? Because you've written more than one book.
Yes, I have 4 books available on Amazon, and they're in different colors. The main book, the best-selling book, is the orange book, which is Lloyd's. It's called Numbers in You, a numerology guide for everyday living. That's the most popular of my books. The next book is the green book. That's my numerology workbook. So for the online course, I have an online course that's in 77 countries. It's translated in about 27 languages. I've got about 3,700 students enrolled across the entire planet. Then the rose color book that's behind me on my left, your right is that's the relationship book. How you get along with yourself. It's about parenting, about marriage. It's about children. It's about if my number goes with your number, so if you want to know about things like that. And then my blue book is an update of my orange book, and it's called Lloyd's Book of Numbers, where I brought everything up to date, and I included some of the people I've read, such as Beyonce, other people, that's included in the book and whatnot. So those are the books. They're all available on Amazon. Thank you.
But okay. I'll put everything down in the description box so they can find all of those books and find the courses.
Okay, good enough. Good enough. Oh, yes, 2 things. I keep forgetting, see, I have a website. It's called Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. That's LLOYD-Strayhorn, STRAYHORN, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. And then I have a show live every Monday, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. You've been a guest on. You will be a guest again in the fall. And it's called Live with Lloyd. It's aired every Monday and Wednesday live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, so they can see it. So I had a person on this past Monday about dental care, little things. So yes, my show is about numerology, astrology, but I sneak something in about the benefit of the finances, so we don't have a poverty mindset. Everybody comes in our community, make money, go, and we still starving in the midst of plenty. So to change our mindset, health, the dental, health, the things. And then I'm going to have a lady on not too soon, very soon, about how to do yoga, facial yoga, to youth and the beauty of the face, not with enhancements of Botox and all that stuff, but to use the part of the body that, anyway, I ain't going to tell you all the secrets. Everybody's got to tune in to see it.
See, I was waiting for all of it.
Yep. So I try to have interesting shows.
But they have to tune in.
Yes, they have to tune in.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming and stopping by. You gave us a wealth of knowledge today.
Thank you. It's caught me on a good day.
Yeah, you gave us a wealth of knowledge today. I'm so grateful for it, so appreciative for it. And you can come back anytime you want to. You're welcome.
Good. And you're going to be on my show soon, and then this way I'll come back and let people know so they can tune in and catch you too. All righty.
Okay. Have a good day.